Moving away from that, over the past several weeks, we've directed our search, looking for logical explanations and understanding, and we followed two distinct paths. One path, we looked at the origin of the writings that we study, that we call the Bible, that we call mythology. And we're trying at the same time to find a connection between those who may have authored these ancient writings, who wrote these things. And remember the number 4555. And being very engrossed in that number, since it came out of the Coptic school, which was the Greek schools in Egypt, the fact that so many brilliant minds assembled together at a time when there was not a great deal of brilliance running loose on the planet Earth, all of it seemed to come together with these strange people, Diogenes, Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, Pythagoras, and all of these, Democritus, and all of these people together just all of a sudden appeared and started providing the world with a foundation for civilization and science and medicine. And, it was very strange to me. And then, of course, finding out that they wrote the Bible, and they did. They wrote the Bible. And even in the Old Testament, their influence is so strong because of the Jews that were in Egypt at the time who were writing this thing. Most of them were in the Hellenistic part, which was the Greek part as well. So their influence in the Bible, in medical dictionaries, most of the words are Greek or Latin or whatever. And, who were they? And then to find that they gave us this number 4555 led me to say, well, we can maybe consider the possibility that the people who we call the classic Greek minds, these brilliant minds, were possibly from 4555. They instructed us well, they provided us with the basis of our civilization in mathematics, science, astronomy, philosophy, etc. And who taught them? There was nobody here to teach them. The second part of our search that we went through over the past few weeks was to find if we could find a logical explanation for how prayer and meditation work. Was there a logic involved in that? And then we found an amazing fact that when an electron or a photon or an atom is observed, its wave function as it travels through the universe collapses down to a particle just by observing it. We found that that's what goes on in laboratories, that the scientists will send out a photon that moves in a wave function, but as soon as somebody observes it, bang, it reduces itself to a particle, and that particle then finds its way to where it's supposed to go. And of course we use the words of great physicists and scientists and saying, of course, inside of the human body, you are all made up of photons, electrons, atoms, and so then the same thing occurs. So then when you pray, when you either turn within yourself and pray or you turn within yourself in meditation, you're actually making something powerful and scientific occur, and that is the wave function inside of you collapses to a particle when you watch, when you meditate. So the power of prayer and the power of meditation becomes self-evident, scientifically provable, that observation that you make inside of yourself causes something to occur. We went into a lot of depth about the workings of these things, that they can be pushed forward. As you can send energy to another person or prayer to another person, they can be pulled as you receive that energy from God. And so, this was a very, very significant consideration. We had two things that I think were significant. Number one, to identify those who wrote the ancient words. And number two, to show scientific proof of the results that can occur by human participation in the subatomic world. And I mean human participation in the subatomic world by observation, by meditating, by watching. As Jesus said in the Bible, what I say to you, I say to all, watch. And so those were the two very, very powerful things. Well, that's the end of that one. The subatomic world of photons and electrons and so forth that are inside of us, and their connection to prayer and meditation. It was an extremely significant thing that we were able to put together. Now, those two things we were able to do. That's what we've been doing over the past several weeks. And I think if you can scientifically improve how prayer or meditation works, scientifically prove it, with not using any Bibles, not using any religious people, not using any New Age stuff, but prove it through science. That's a significant accomplishment, and I think that's what we've been able to do.